Good afternoon, universe. How are you? It's a beautiful day outside. I'm actually sitting on top of my truck. You can see. Sitting outside and enjoying the weather. It's really beautiful here. It feels like it's probably in the late 60s, maybe almost 70. But anyways, I'm here to do a review of the second film of the ones I saw yesterday, Warm Bodies. I did a review for the first one last night, obviously, Identity Theft, even though I originally intended to see A Good Day to Die Hard. So I'm going to do Warm Bodies. I got a little distracted last night because it was, well, not in a bad way, in a good way, talking to someone. But anyways, so here we go. Let's talk about Warm Bodies. I don't want to be overly insulting to any movies right now, even though I'm very disappointed in most movies right now. Warm Bodies is the story, essentially, of a zombie falling in love with a human. It's, post-zombie apocalypse, so to speak, and basically, zombies versus humans. There are some zombies that are just sort of keeping to themselves, and they still eat people, but they don't really mess with people as much. They kind of just hang out in buildings, and it's almost as though they're not necessarily, driven by evil or whatever. It's almost like they're trapped inside their own heads. It's not like they're just, purely, cannibalistic. It's almost like, they're trapped inside of their own heads. They can't remember things about their lives because it's faded as a result of their deaths. They eat people's brains, at least, the main character in this one, the zombie male, he eats brains because basically he feels like it allows him to connect with memories of other people and sort of in a way helps him feel again. So that's kind of the gist of his character. And he happens to eat the brains of this boyfriend, and so thereby falling in love with his girlfriend, this girl. And I cannot even tell you her name, and I saw it yesterday. I can't remember it very well, but I know the only thing really memorable about the male character was his name was R, because he couldn't remember his full name, so he just started with the letter R, and that was the gist of it. The girl, basically, he eats her boyfriend's brains, but then there's other zombies around, and he starts to have memories of her, but instead of hurting her, he rescues her and takes her back to his little, hiding place or whatever, and protects her from other zombies, including a friend of his and stuff like that. And ultimately, through the course of it, he starts to go from a guy who was like, to slowly learning to talk again, or opening up, his brain starts to open up again, and he starts to talk to her. And even though he's talking slow and he's very shaky in his dialogue, he starts to talk again. And then they start to care about each other ultimately. She goes back to her human camp. He's still stuck in the zombie. He starts talking to another zombie, and the zombie, it's a friend of his, says he's starting to have dreams too, because the zombie male lead is starting to have dreams again. And it's almost like what's happening is they're healing themselves. So at the end, he goes back to see this girl and tells her he's going to try and talk to the humans and tell them that they are trying to heal themselves and that they're starting to return to almost back to being human again. Despite the fact, I guess, that they like to eat people, or just they're healing themselves and they won't want to eat people. That's never really finally decided. Like, okay, well, listen, I'm still going to need to eat your sister from time to time. That sounded perverse. Never mind. That's a whole other kind of dinner thing. So, anyway, so that's pretty much the gist of it in the end. Spoiler alert. The humans and the zombies that are starting to recover, which is a bulk of them, are, kind of start to work together to take out the bounties, which they call them. I think they call them the bounties, which is like the zombies that have gone too far to the point of no return, so they can't be saved. So they start to merge forces, and, at the end, the zombies who are sort of starting to recover from their, deaths, so to speak, they actually, almost like special ed kids or something, or like, challenged people, because the this one zombie starts to hit on a girl, and he talks to her at the end, and he says, let me help you with that, okay? And she's like, oh, okay. He's like, there you go. And he says, you're very pretty. And she says, thanks. And he goes, you're supposed to say I'm pretty too. So it's a little bizarre. There's some funny moments in the movie, and it's not like the idea wasn't solid. The idea, well, I don't know if it was solid, but there was some idea put into it. The first film, they didn't really put a lot of ideas into it. This one, the writer, I think, had an idea. I don't know where he started with his original spec script versus what, came out of the studio. But it's a solid idea that it's basically these zombies trying to, restore what they've lost, and saying that they may have died, but in a way their spirit still remains. It's just trapped inside of this condition. It's not a bad concept. I don't think the execution pulled it off as well. The acting is not bad. By far, the lead actor, I don't know his name, was the best. He did a really good job of really trying to fight through that role and really make something of it. Really good actor. I liked his performance. I'm sure he's been in other things that I may or may not have seen. But he really worked hard through it, so I really appreciated him. The girl wasn't bad. The cast wasn't necessarily bad. It's just that there wasn't a lot of... I will say the two main characters were reasonably well defined. Except that, R can't be really well defined because he doesn't know who he is. His characteristics come from the fact that he's having this internal battle to recover from his, circumstance. He does a good job, though. Overall. I guess as I think about it more, it was really more of an average movie. It wasn't really a bad movie. It was really more of an average movie. It wasn't, tremendous. I don't think it's something that I'm going to look back and go, okay, I really need that movie on DVD. Or Blu-ray or whatever, or Amazon Prime or whatever. I don't think it's like that, but I think if I saw it on Netflix, I probably wouldn't be opposed to watching it again. But it definitely is not what I'm going to seek out necessarily and go, okay, I wonder if that movie's available now. The acting, like I said, was pretty strong by the two lead actors, even though there was kind of a limited amount of stuff to work with. The lead male, by far, was the best performer in the whole film, the best actor. Really liked his performance. The girl was good, or the female. I don't know why I call her girl. She's not 12 years old, but the lead female, she was pretty good under the circumstances of what she had to do. The father character in the movie of the young lady, he was decent. Even the best friend was of the zombie, the other zombie. Who had dialogue in the film, was not bad. It really weren't bad. But anyways, overall, let's just kind of go through it. Characters, I would say 3.5 to 4 probably. Lily, I'm going to just stick with 3.5. It could have been a little bit better done, but not bad. 3.5 for the characters out of 5. Story, conceptually, the story concept is pretty good. Pretty good conceptually. The internal struggle to recover from, basically this condition that, you would think, it's almost like it's a disability of itself. So it's almost like a comment on, recovering or overcoming a greater odds. So that in a way is a good, solid sort of story character concept in my mind. So I will give it, 3. For story, 3. It could have been thought out a little bit more, but a good start. Good start. Script, dialogue wasn't great. I was not terribly impressed by the dialogue in the script. The actors really made it work more than the dialogue did, honestly. So I'm going to have to say 2.5 on the dialogue, on the script, dialogue and such. Direction, the director did an average job. He had some color variations, but I didn't really feel like I saw a development in the style of the story. It seems like he should have put a little bit more effort into showing us, at the end, the dark and the bad, and then slowly bring us back to more light. And we did have light at the end, but it wasn't... It should have been an evolution slowly of this character no longer hiding in the darkness and saying, I'm going to come back from this. I'm going to come back from this. And I think they should have, in a way, the director should have followed the character of R a little more closely and shown his view of the world as it changed. I think that would have been a more solid approach to it. The direction was average. Average. I would say about a 3. I'll give it a 3. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, really, I will give this movie about a 3 out of 5. Not great. Not great, but not bad. Definitely not Identity Theft. Better than Identity Theft, for sure. Even though I have to say, and I think a lot of it came from Identity Theft, or my exhaustion from not sleeping well the night before. But I did look through at my phone, this phone you're on, throughout the film, going, is it almost over? Is it almost over? And in retrospect, I think a lot of it came from the fact that Identity Theft just drained me. And this needed more hands-on, solid script attention, or they should have stuck with the original draft, which may have been stronger. You know, the nature of Hollywood and show business, I've been a little bit inside that circle, is that they change everything, even if it's great. And sometimes that is, you know, for the better, and sometimes it's for the worse. I don't know where this script originally started, or the story concept originally started, and how much they adapted it to get some thrills out of it, or da-da-da-da. It could have been done. I would like to have seen the original script. I don't think the script that they shot was probably the best choice, ultimately. Direction, I think the director should have chosen a character, or chosen an environment, or chosen something to be his guiding force in what he was doing. I think R probably was the best choice because the actor was very strong playing the role. So I think if you'd followed him, and if he had executed the story with how R was seeing the transformation occur in himself, I think we would have identified it. I think we probably would have accepted the unique circumstance that we were watching in the film. So that's pretty much it. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. That's my review. So there you go. I won't ramble any more about it. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please feel free to comment, leave below, tell me what you think of Warm Bodies. And if you saw A Good Day to Die Hard, you know, and you did a review, feel free to post a link below in the comments. I'd be glad to look at it and see what people thought. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews of it. I heard good action, bad story, does not do well for John McClane. You know, John McClane was in it. John McClane's character, it did not, was not a very good resurrection of that character. It probably could have been any other character. I think in a way that they need to let Die Hard rest. I thought that the a Live Free or Die Hard movie was all right. Justin Long was decent in it, and so was, you know, Bruce Willis, as always, as John McClane. I really think that franchise is gone, though. After Part 3 with Samuel L. Jackson and Willis, I really think that franchise is done. And Live Free or Die Hard and A Good Day to Die Hard are just trying to bring seats into the theater and put millions of dollars. And in a way, movie studios, they don't make necessarily movies because they're like, oh, we're going to make this great movie. I think in a way they do it to balance out the weights that come from another company doing a movie. So if Universal does an action film, then, you know, whatever, Paramount's going to do one too, just so they can balance out the box office. And okay, we'll get 50 or 40%, and they'll get 50 or 40%, but we're going to kind of limit our losses here this weekend, so we'll have another movie out too. So that's a whole other concept of discussion or whatever. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you know, if you have seen the film, feel free to leave your comments below. If you did A Good Day to Die Hard review, feel free to leave it below. We'd be glad to look at it. Take care. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the world, my friends. That is what it's here for. I'm going to click the button and stop shaking the damn camera. Woohoo! Have a good day.